Hi guys, this is my first video related to networking, and this is my home lab. And this is home lab. I have the vCenter appliances. I have vCenter appliances as a vCenter server. vCenter appliances is the good because in future most of company will use only vCenter. So today I will discuss on networking related queries, and today I will only discuss about that standard switch because network is a very vice versa area in VMware. So in my next video we will see the distributed switch. Today I will show you what the standard and how it's create and what is the policy, what is the nick teaming, etc. We will discuss on this area. So guys, I want to tell you one thing that standard switch, when we create any ESXi host, and standard switch automatic created over there. Once you go to in a DCI and put that IP address, so that IP address automatically assigned to the VM kernel port. What is the VM kernel port? VM kernel port is that port which is responsible for all those things: vMotion, fault tolerance, management traffic, iSCSI port binding. So those port will responsible always on these property of the management network port. So it's give the MAC address, maximum transfer unit 1500. We can change those setting from here. We can give the 4096 maximum. So that is a standard switch. So for the standard switch, if you have any virtual center server which is running on distributed switch, and if you want to any activity on the virtual center server, so I would recommend first migrate that virtual center server on a standard switch, then start that troubleshooting or any task, any patching activity. Because once that your vCenter is down, it is very difficult to get back on that a distributed switch without vCenter server. So this is a different thing. Here, when we go to the virtual standard switch, if you want to add other switch like that, I added here my iSCSI. So what the iSCSI do, it give the storage, shared storage. I have the shared storage for both ESXi host. So this is my home lab, and this lab I prepared for VCAP exam. I already done the VCAP. And related to networking comes again here. If you go to add networking, it will ask virtual machine and VM kernel. So virtual machine port and VM kernel port. If you go to the virtual machine port group, then it will ask to you put add any nick. If any nick is over there, unclaimed nick, so we can give the nick to virtual machine port group, and we can create any virtual machine port for the virtual machine. We can put the virtual machine port on the VM kernel port also, but nick would be same for the VM kernel port and virtual machine traffic. But here, when we go to the back, if we go to the VM kernel port, it will ask lot of things. Suppose I click the next, it will ask the IP and network level like that, vMotion, iSCSI, whatever we want. So it will give like that. But if you go to that virtual machine, it will not ask, it will ask the VLAN. It will ask the VLAN, it will not ask to IP address. Why? Because we are not assigning the IP address to the virtual machine. We are giving that IP address in a particular VLAN. Suppose I have the VLAN 100, and if I have that range 192.168.100.1 to 224, so in this LAN only those virtual machine can communicate, right? So in the virtual machine port group, we are not giving any IP address, but we are giving only the VLAN ID, and VLAN ID gives by network team to us. So this is that port group features. Now if you go to the virtual standard switch, we have that 120 ports. We can increase that one port group here till 4008. This is at my 6.0 ESXi. And MTU size we can increase whatever, but MTU size, it's always if we have same MTU size on the physical switch. If we have here 4096 or something and MTU size on a physical switch 1500, it will not work. Now go to the security. The promiscuous mode, MAC address change, frog transmit. So promiscuous mode, what is it? Always reject. Why it is always reject? This is also the interview question. Because that promiscuous mode is always reject. Why? Because if we have suppose 3 virtual machine and one virtual machine is communicate third one, so second virtual machine enable that packet is sniffing or network sniffing or any third party tools, so we can see that traffic between one and third by that second virtual machine. So for the security reason is always rejected. And MAC address change and frog transmit. What is the MAC address change? We have the 2 virtual machine which always communicate by the unicast. So when the unicast is data traffic is goes one machine to second virtual machine, and it's always coming, it's always works on the outgoing traffic. So if we other virtual machine in the VMX file, if you change that IP address, so it will not recognize by that IP table which is created by the vSwitch. So it's always accepted whatever the vSend IP address MAC there, it will communicate. Frog transmit, it always works the incoming traffic. So this is the security features of this vSwitch. I mean to say standard switch. Traffic saving, always disable, we can enable average bandwidth, peak bandwidth, burst size. Most of company use these features for critical application where we need that particular bandwidth related network, and if they have an issue like that, if in the banking sector there the server is always have the good bandwidth, so we can use this features that time. Main features are NIC teaming. What teaming? As a physical, if we combination that more than 2 and 3 cards, we call the NIC teaming. But here the NIC teaming had the 4 policy again. Route based originating port ID. It always by default is set like that. Hello. Hello. Second policy is route based IP hash. So what do the first policy will do? Route based originating virtual port ID, where we have created any IDs, means any virtual port ID. So it's by default the load balancing by this policy. Route based IP hash works on the IP. If we provide that IP on the source and destination, or MAC or explicit failover. This is the new feature of the explicit failover. Is take that failover first. If the first card is failed, then traffic will be goes away with the second card. So according to we change this policy, and I will show you in the documents how it works. Link status only network failover detection. It's only detect your physical damage, and beacon probing detects the error and send to the virtual switch as a SNMP trap also. Notify switch, yes. Why the notify switch yes and no? Means if any problem in network failover detection, so vSwitch can understand that there is any problem. Failback, yes. If one NIC is failed, then second NIC will be take over. So it works with that. This use explicit failover. So This is only the V switch. Let me open you the documents related this, and we can see over there lot of details. 1 minute. So this is our standard switch. Like it works like that. Virtual switch and VM. And here if we see, I am not telling here distributed switch. Going to load balancing. This is the load balancing. So it is route based versioning port ID. This is the default load balancing policy. Virtual switch consists of number of virtual ports in the load balancing policy. So it's associated with the physical network adapter always. And second policy, route based IP has. If this load balancing policy is configured, physical NIC for the outbound packet is chosen based on the outsource and destination IP address. Third one, route based MAC has. Each virtual machine outbound traffic will be mapped to the particular physical NIC. Route based physical NIC load balance is a new policy. This load balancing policy is only available on DV switch. It is not available on standard switch. One more policy. This is setting always the highest order uplink from the list of active uplink adapter. In case failover both active uplink adapter failed, standby adapter will be used. That's why I was telling when I was in my lab. Link status, beacon probing, I already discussed with you. Notify switch. This option determines whether to notify or not notify the switch in case of the failover, which I told you in my lab. Failback, if failback is set to yes, then adapter will return to duty immediately upon the recover by displacing the standby. If we say the no, means if failed adapter become the active, it will be the fail. It will not come as a active again. So if failback is set to no, then failed adapter is failed inactive even after the recovery. No failback. So this is the thing. What is a VLAN? VLAN is nothing. It is a group of the LAN. So it reduce our particular network related instrument, like that. If I have the 100 virtual machine, so I can put up that 100 virtual machine in one VLAN, and I can give the range. So I don't need to create one port for one virtual machine. I can only give the one VLAN and create one port, and I put that all virtual machine on particular port group. So this is the distributed switch. I hope this video is good for you.